This is the miter saw. It's going to be used for cross cutting. It does turn, and so it can cut angles, and you'll do that occasionally. You won't do this very often at all, and I do it so few times that I'm not sure ever how to do it. But it does bevels as well. If you need to do bevels, you're probably going to do it on the table saw, because that table saw does it as well. So first thing you want to check for when you come over here is that this is pointed at 0. If it's not pointed at 0, it means that somebody else just cut some angle, and if you try to cut a board and it's supposed to be a square board, then your board's not going to be straight. So purpose of this, cross cut, faces on the planer, edge on the joiner, other edge on the table saw, 2 ends on this. That's what this is for. Just cut the ends. So now we've went through the entire process of squaring a board. We got the guard right here. This thing raises up as we lower our saw down. Margin of safety is 4 inches. More importantly though, keep your thumb tucked in. Okay? One of the common things that can happen on here is I'm sitting here holding my board out, and I bring the saw down and chop my thumb off. So, and I've never had somebody get hurt like that on here, but that is something that can happen. So keep your hand tucked in and don't get your thumb out. So you make sure it's at the right angle, 4-inch margin of safety. So check your, when you come over here, this is one saw that you have to have it marked. So if you know your board's got to be 10 inches long, measure it out, mark it. If this is where 10 inches is, I got my mark. If you want to get a square and draw a line straight across, that's fine, but you don't have to. You want to cut on the waist side. Okay, if this is the side I'm keeping over here, keep this side. I want to have the saw blade come right there. Okay, I don't want to have the saw blade come right down on the line because then my board will be too short. I want it to be on this side of the line. Okay, so have it cut over here, not on the line and not on this side of the line because it'll be way too short that way. So when you come up, you set your saw up, make sure that it's on the waist side of the mark. You're going to hold your board tight to the fence, and then when you use the saw, you're going to pull the trigger, get it going full speed. The only person I've ever had get hurt on a miter saw is because they brought it down really fast and they weren't holding onto the board very well, and so the board ended up kicking back and like blowing up. Like the board literally blew up, and pieces came off, hit him like in the thumb or something. He ended up having a black and blue thumb for almost the entire school year, and so it was kind of gross. Wasn't gory, wasn't bloody or anything, but I'm sure it hurt. So make sure this thing slides. So try to start it back, start it up, pull the trigger, get it going full speed, and then lower it. So I've got it, stand in front. And I cut right next to my mark. I didn't cut on the mark. I didn't cut on this side. I cut right next to it on the other side. Move the blade smoothly. Hold your board tight, okay? I don't know if I said that. Make sure you're holding it tight to the fence. If you've got to cut multiple pieces, okay, occasionally you might have a project where you've got to have like a whole bunch of pieces this size. Okay, so you got to cut a bunch of these. You already did it on the table saw. You need to cut them that size. Then what you're going to do is you put this piece up to the blade, and then you're going to clamp something else right here. Push this down, Colin. Don't pull the trigger, just push it down. Just push that. Okay, now let's lift it up. So now, when I bring my board up, if I wanted to cut this one, I slide it up to there, cut. Grab another one, slide it up, cut. And they're all the same size. So that's a stop block. Okay, stop block is used for cutting multiple pieces. And there's a good chance you'll probably have to use that sometime. When you use this, these small scraps right here, I did this demonstration second hour, so your classmates that left and went to second hour, they did it today. And I just don't have a box yet. Usually we have a box underneath. These little things go in the box. Bigger things like this, if you don't need them, they go back on the shelf. Make sure you find the shelf for the right type of wood, put it on there, and that's what you do. Let's see. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, very simple tool.